Hey everyone, welcome to Brick Vault. Today we are reviewing the custom-built LEGO 1966 Batmobile. When this car appeared on screen over 50 years ago, it was the first time the Batmobile jumped off the pages of a comic book and became a real physical thing. Technically, the 1940s Batmans had cars, but this in Futura concept car, this beast looked otherworldly even back then, and it came packed with cool, high-tech crime-fighting features, and well, other features too. There are a lot of reasons why there are so many die-hard fans say that if this model looks like something you might want to build yourself, the instructions and digital parts list can be found at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. The instructions come in PDF format, and the parts list file can be uploaded online to the channel, as well as the builders who we work with, like Sawyer. Sawyer is the designer of when comparing these two, just because this mock that Sawyer built is actually quite durable, and I would say just as playable as what came from the LEGO set. It's definitely smaller, and overall the custom build has a lot less obtuse, very large extra details thrown in. What Sawyer did here is something that we really like to push for when making mocks here at the channel, which is making things proportional and accurate while also including enough exaggerated detail to make things recognizable, especially when building at a slightly smaller size. For example, the red highlighting on the custom build is taken down by quite a bit, because generally when you look at pictures of the car, that red highlighting is so small and fine that to include it everywhere just doesn't feel as accurate when you look at the model as a whole. Obviously no stud guns were included because they don't look good on the model and it looks way less accurate, and the golden bat beam in the front, as well as the bar that makes up the bat turn, is a lot smaller and a lot lower, which just is simply more accurate. And it's clear, which doesn't pop quite as much, doesn't draw your eye away from the detailing of the car so much, and the back has 3 tubes instead of 2 like the set. These tubes, I believe, were used to shoot fireworks out as an anti-theft device. A lot harder to ignore, I suppose, than a regular car alarm. It also has a much lower profile, which I think looks a lot better. Remember, this is still a pretty sporty kind of car, and if you do end up making a purchase for the instructions here, I've left an option in the parts list if you wanted to add the stickers to the vehicle that you do get from the official set. I didn't put it on the details of this build, just kind of on its own. First things first, the rounded over edges look way better. They start at the doors and then move all the way down towards the front for the headlights. You can see there's a bit of extra detailing added here right by the front grille. Technically, that red detailing is the same width as pretty much all the red line detailing you see on the original car, and so you're just decided to add a little bit here in the front, as well as just a hint of it here in the back. The fins, totally, the angle doesn't need to be particularly harsh, but you can move it around however you like, and just in general I've had a lot of fun appreciating the angles and slopes that make up the car. When it comes to, and there is still space for the bat turn lever as well as the red phone. As you can see, there's no problem whatsoever fitting the 2 minifigures inside the car, and I do personally like having their capes waving out the back, though you can have them tucked in if you like. This thing has no problem riding around on, well, any surface. It could be carpeted. This is just a smooth surface that we have right here. It's a little heavier than what you might get from a Speed Champion set, so I think it actually has a little bit more longevity, or you can push it, and this thing is just as playable as any standard LEGO playset. The shape of this car isn't particularly strange, so you're not going to be running into any problems with certain points not connecting well and maybe breaking off and being very delicate. That doesn't exist for this model from a decent distance, and I don't think too many pieces would be breaking off aside from maybe some of the little ones. This Batmobile does join a much larger family of tons of minifig scale Batmobiles that we have up in the web store, and personally this particular one holds a special place in my heart because this, in my mind, is kind of the very first Batmobile, and I think it was really the one that captured a lot of imaginations and kind of started that tradition of combining weird style and high-tech crime-fighting gadgets all into one main vehicle for our superhero to ride around in. Anyways, that's it for this little episode. Everybody, thanks a lot for hanging out and watching. If you do want to buy the instructions, once again, our web store is www.brickvault.toys, linked in the description below. And also, if you have any ideas about what you want to see us do in the future, please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time at Brick Vault.